There are seasons in life when it feels like every door is closed. You look around and see others stepping into blessings, promotions, relationships, answered prayers, yet you remain in the same place. You've prayed, you've believed, you've waited. But nothing seems to change. And deep down, a question begins to rise in your heart. God, do you hear me? Do you see me? Have you forgotten me? But today, let this truth take root deep inside your soul. When God says, it's your time, no power on earth, no scheme of man, and no force from hell can stop what He has ordained. We serve a God of perfect timing. He is never early and never late. He knows precisely when your heart is ready. When the circumstances align, and when every piece of the puzzle is in place. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, God is at work. When you think He's silent, He's speaking to angels. When you think He's still, He's moving mountains behind the scenes. When you think nothing is changing, He's arranging every detail for a breakthrough beyond your imagination. Think of the story of Joseph, a living testimony of God's perfect timing. As a teenager, Joseph received a dream from God, a vision that one day he would stand in authority and others would bow before him. But instead of walking straight into his destiny, Joseph's journey began with betrayal and pain. His own brothers, filled with jealousy, threw him into a pit and sold him as a slave. From being his father's beloved son, he became a servant in a foreign land. Then he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Year after year, it looked like the dream God gave him was buried under disappointment and despair. Yet even in the darkest moments, God was working. He was shaping Joseph's character, teaching him faithfulness in small things so that he could handle great things. He was molding him into the leader he was destined to become. And then, at the appointed time, everything changed, in a single day. One morning Joseph woke up in chains, but by that afternoon, he was the Prime Minister of Egypt, Genesis 41 verses 14 to 41. One word from God can move you from the pit to the palace. Maybe you're in a season like Joseph's, misunderstood, overlooked, or forgotten. But don't let silence make you doubt God's promise. His delay is not denial. He is preparing you. He's teaching you patience in obscurity so you can stand strong in blessing. He's strengthening your faith in the darkness so His light can shine through you when the moment arrives. Consider Moses. As a baby, he was placed in a basket and sent down the Nile. He grew up in Pharaoh's palace, but after killing an Egyptian, he fled to the desert, spending 40 years in obscurity. Who would have thought that this runaway shepherd would one day deliver an entire nation from slavery? But when God said, "Now is the time," nothing, not Pharaoh's army, not Moses' past, not his fears, could stop his plan. Moses went from exile to deliverer because divine timing changes everything. Look also at David. He was just a shepherd boy, so insignificant that his own father didn't even call him when the prophet Samuel came to anoint the next king. But God does not choose as man chooses. David was anointed long before he wore the crown. He faced rejection, betrayal, and danger. Saul tried to kill him. Years passed before the promise came to pass. But when God said, "It's time," no throne could remain occupied by another. No Goliath could block his path. Scripture says, "For the vision awaits an appointed time." It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it, it will certainly come and will not delay, Habakkuk 2 verse 3. God's timing may not match your timeline, but it is always perfect. He is never late. When you think He's slow, He's shaping the future. When you think He's silent, He's writing the story. When you feel He's distant, He's closer than you know. Let the waiting become the place where your faith grows. Delay is not denial. If the door hasn't opened yet, maybe God is strengthening the foundation so you can handle what's on the other side. If the promise hasn't manifested, maybe He's expanding your capacity so you can sustain the blessing when it comes. Don't be discouraged if others seem to move ahead of you. They have their time, and you have yours. When God says, "It's your time," you won't need to compete. You won't have to force doors open. God Himself will open them before you, and what He opens, no one can shut. Revelation 3 verse 8. When God's time arrives, everything changes quickly. Like a river overflowing after the rain, His grace will sweep away every barrier. The rejections will become invitations. The dreams that seemed dead will breathe again. Those who once overlooked you will witness the mighty work of God in your life. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8 verse 31. And when it happens, you will understand that it was never your talent, your strength, or your strategy that brought you there. It was the hand of God. You will look back at the waiting, the tears, the struggles, and realize He was with you the whole time. Every slow step, every closed door, every not yet was part of a greater plan. Think of the years Joseph spent in darkness. Every disappointment was shaping him into the leader Egypt needed. Every betrayal was building the character required to handle authority. Every day in that prison was not wasted, it was preparation. And when his time came, the years of pain became the foundation of his purpose. Think of Moses in the desert. 40 years of silence seemed like wasted time, but it was in that wilderness that God taught him humility, patience, and dependence. Without the desert, he would not have been ready to lead a nation. Without the delay, he would not have known the voice that spoke from the burning bush. God uses the wilderness to shape deliverers. Think of David running from Saul, hiding in caves, crying out in the Psalms. It was in the hidden places that he learned to rely on God. It was in the lonely nights that he wrote songs of worship still sung today. And when the throne became his, he ruled not with arrogance but with a heart that knew the faithfulness of God in every season. So if you are in a season of waiting, do not despise it. Do not curse the delay. It is not a sign that God has forgotten you. It is proof that He is preparing you. Every challenge is a chisel shaping your destiny. Every tear is watering the seed of your future. Every no is a redirection to something far greater than you imagined. And remember this, God's timing is not just about you, it's about His glory. When He moves, the world will know it was Him. No one will be able to say it was coincidence or luck. The breakthrough will be so undeniable, the favor so overwhelming, that only one explanation will remain: God did it. Perhaps right now you are standing at the edge of frustration, thinking nothing is happening. But heaven is moving. Perhaps you feel forgotten, but your name is still written on His hands. Perhaps you think you've missed your moment. But the author of time does not run out of time. He makes everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11. Do not lose faith when you cannot see progress. Do not doubt the promise just because the journey is longer than you expected. God never forgets His word. He never sleeps, never abandons his work. And when he says, "It's your time," everything will shift. Doors will open. Mountains will move. Blessings will flow, and nothing will be able to stop them. Maybe you feel like you are at the end, but God is only getting started. Maybe you think the story is over, but the author is still writing. Maybe the world says impossible, but God whispers, "Watch me." And here is the promise: the appointed time of God is closer than you think. Even when you see nothing changing, He is working. Even when you feel forgotten, He is remembering you. And when He declares, "Now is the time," no power in hell, no scheme of man, no circumstance on earth can stop what He has set in motion. So stand firm. Keep praying. Stay faithful. Because when God says it's your time, nothing, and no one, can stop your breakthrough. Your time is coming. Not by your striving, but by His hand. Not because you forced it, but because He ordained it. And when it arrives, you will see why the waiting was necessary, why the tears were not wasted, and why the silence was never abandonment. For the God who promised is faithful, and when He says, "It's your time," your life will never be the same again.